Hi, I'm Sean Keef. I'm a security engineer with Skybox Security, and I'll be demonstrating the Skybox Security Suite for you today. In this video demonstration, we will explore how Skybox can be used to help organizations show compliance with various regulations or internal security policies. We'll use firewall assurance to look at configuration and zone-to-zone access policies, as well as how to create automated reports. Policy compliance is often the reason many customers look at the Skybox product suite. They've typically either recently failed an audit or they have an audit coming up. PCI requirements often drive this requirement as well. So we're going to look at a couple of different policies, the configuration policy as well as our zone-to-zone access policy. And we're also going to look at how to do automated reports. So let's start down here with configuration policies. With configuration policies, what we're looking at is how well is a particular device in compliance with how it is supposed to be configured. Oftentimes companies will have a gold standard or some type of a policy that specifies how their security devices should be configured. Out of the box, we provide a list of checks that are based on CIS benchmarks and NIST standards that are really looking for how hardened a particular security device is. These checks are easy to create. We can take a look at one right here. Let's look at SNMP public community string. So it simply consists of a regular expression that we're looking for, and then an indication of whether it's a violation if that string is found or if it's not found. On the right, we see a scorecard screen. This gives us a lot of information about how we're doing for this compliance policy. I can see which checks have passed or failed with this green check or red X. The second column shows me the severity of that policy. I see the policy name itself, how many policies have had violations, and which policies are enabled or disabled. I call this a scorecard screen. The policies often roll to a scorecard. They also roll up into a summary screen, and finally into a dashboard screen for a high-level view of how you're doing against multiple policies. The different screens are useful for different people in the organizations. Operations people typically like the scorecard or lower level viewing, where managers and executives often like the higher level dashboard screens with the pie charts and bar graphs and that kind of thing. Also, if we open one of these checks that have failed, we can drill into the actual configuration file and see where that failure took place. The second policy we want to look at is our zone-to-zone access policies. Zone-to-zone access policies are a unique feature of the Skybox Security Suite, and they allow us to describe fairly complex and abstract policies against complex networks. The whole idea is to be able to describe common security policies such as, I want to make sure that my DMZ can never send telnet data to any of the servers in my data center. This can be fairly complex to check, as in a large organization you could have several DMZs, your servers could be distributed in several data centers, and there could be several layers of firewalls between your DMZs and those data centers. So you can see how difficult it would be to go individual firewall by firewall and see if any of those firewalls are allowing that kind of access. With our zone-to-zone access policy, we allow you to start by defining different zones. There's two policies that we provide out of the box, the NIST 841 policy and our PCI DSS version 2 policy. Each of these have certain zones that are associated with them. The NIST policy comes with 4 zones, DMZ, external, internal, and partner, while PCI provides 5 different zones, cardholder data, DMZ, Internet, Partners, and Untrusted Wireless. The policies themselves describe what kind of traffic should be allowed between an intersection of any of those two policies. So in our NIST policy, under internal access, I can see what kind of traffic should or should not be allowed between internal networks and the DMZ. So down here I see block login services as one of those. And Telnet is included as part of that login service blocking. So at a very high level, I'm describing what should or should not be allowed. I shouldn't be allowing Telnet to go from internal zones to DMZs. The Skybox Security Suite does the heavy lifting of translating that high-level conceptual concept into specific access tests based on zone definition. After doing that, we can see what the actual violations are. So if I look in violating rules, I see that I have one rule on my VLab PIX firewall that's causing a violation of this particular policy. I can also get an explanation of what that violation would be. These screens roll up the same way our other policy screens do, only they use a percentage for compliance. The goal, of course, is 100% compliance. Here, from our internal to DMZ, we see we're only at 28% compliance, and there's 8 violating rules. By using this policy, administrators are able to see exactly which rules are causing violations in fairly complex policies. It also allows them to describe those policies in the abstract kind of terms that are used in a security policy document without forcing the administrator to translate that into individual checks on specific firewalls. So I can see how I'm doing from a compliance standpoint at each individual level. So here I can see that I'm at 29% compliant for my NIST internal access. I'm 51% compliant for my NIST policy overall. It should be noted that all of the information that we're looking at on the GUI is also available through reporting. We can see reports in a couple of different formats. We can produce reports in a PDF or an HTML format, or we can send CSV data, typically used for operations type people. Take a look at one of the reports that we've created for zone-to-zone access violations. Here's the report looking at a summary for my VLab PIX. And I can drill into that and see the details of this as well. So I can see the policies that are being checked, as well as the rules that are causing those violations. These reports can be emailed automatically to various people in the organization. The reporting system is very robust, allowing different portions of data to be sent to different people on an automated, scheduled basis. So in summary, through the variety of policies that Skybox brings to the table, administrators are able to maintain compliance with various external regulations as well as internal security policies. This compliance happens on an automated basis. It happens typically on a daily basis, and the reports are automatically sent to the people who need them.